Hello, hello. Tony Benson here, founder of Notary Calendar. I'm doing an update here for the profile section of how to set it up, mainly because we've added some pretty significant upgrades to it. Made quite a few big changes, so I'm doing updates to these as far as training, making sure that you're all on the same page and know how to use it. Before I go there, I want to take a brief second. I've had a couple of questions the last couple of weeks. People come in here into your Notary calendar, you get logged in, and you go, there's a calendar, and they click on it, right? You're clicking on it going, how come I can't add anything to it? The whole purpose of this tool is to simplify the process, not to create more work, right? And I remember asking my developer, I was like, could we add a manual thing? He goes, why would you want to do that? That's just going to create twice as much work. Now you have to enter it here, and then you have to enter it on your Google Calendar, which I don't know why I didn't think of that, but duh. So the beauty is, and the purpose of this is to streamline things and make it easier, not create more work. So what this does, you see the grayed out spots is my Google Calendar. That's what it sees on my Google Calendar. So it's reading that. So I didn't have to change anything as far as managing in my calendar. I keep using Google Calendar the way I have for the last 7 years as a notary. Make sure my appointment's in there. Make sure there's an address in there. That's the only thing that you want to make sure you have. Make sure you have an address in all of your appointments, right? Because obviously this thing is calculating how far you're going to go. So it needs to know what address you're going to. But if you're doing a Zoom meeting, that's fine. We've fixed the coding so that if you have a Zoom thing in the location, it will pull from your home address. I'll show you that in just a minute. And we've pretty much fixed it so if it's blank even, it's not an issue. So that's a good thing. But I just want to make sure that was clear that this is not a place to enter your appointments. Now, you're looking at those two green slots going, what are those? Why are they green? Why are there times? Why is there an address, right? So these are on my Google Calendar. It's what I've put on there, just like I manage all the time. These are ones that have been booked through my widget. So I can actually click on it, and it comes into the details. I can mark it complete. I can cancel it. I can edit it, right? So anything that's booked through your widget will show up on your calendar screen. Oh, there we go. It's getting really slow for some reason. So you'll see those on here where it allows you to go edit those real easily. You can also come up to the Appointments tab. It'll show you a list of appointments. But if you want to change something here, then just go in and do it. Click on these. So hopefully that's clear. Now let's jump into the profile section. Go up here, click on profile. You may notice the work schedule. I'm going to cover that in a different training, but let's stick to the profile for right now. Most of this is pretty self-explanatory, right? First name, last name. One thing I do want to point out real quick is what you will see when somebody searches, when somebody goes to your widget and does a search. So these are the things you definitely want to have. Your first and last name, clearly. A profile picture is obviously good. Your service fees you're going to set up in the service fee section. This will be automatically calculated. But the bio, right, the little description about yourself, your business, whatever you want to put in there, and the payment forms accepted. So those are the parts. The time slots, this is automatically done. But those are the 4 things you want to make sure are here. Your first name, last name, your description. Again, that's basically a bio, your picture, and whatever payment methods you take. If there's something not on here, if there's something not on here that you accept, let me know. I can add it. The challenging part to this is try not to cover every little tiny one-off thing that shows up, but also covering every base. So it is definitely challenging to not have too much, because if you put too much information, it's overwhelming. If you don't have enough, then you don't cover all the bases. So it's a matter of trying to figure out that balancing point. So I need to get rid of that because I don't speak Russian. If you do speak other languages, if there's something that's not on here, let me know. I can add that as well very quickly and easily. Contact information is pretty obvious. This one, I will make a note of this real quick. Professional email address. This is something that they would see on your profile, not necessarily on the widget, but on the catalog profile, which is logged down at the moment. We may have a use for it in the future. It's there. Whether or not we utilize it for other stuff remains to be seen. But the original plan for this went a different direction. So we've gone a different direction a couple of times with this as far as where we're going. So the original direction, the catalog was there. Now it's not. It's basically just kind of locked down. So I'll get into that in a different training. But this is the one that would be a public facing that somebody could email you directly on. The calendar has to be connected to Gmail, right? Or a Google account, a Workspace Google account. That works too. It's all built off of Google. So if you're using Outlook or Yahoo, then it's relatively easy. I've seen some YouTube videos on how to connect those into a Gmail account so that the Outlook, so you can manage your Outlook calendar over here and it will automatically populate it on your Gmail account. So then the Notary Calendar system will see it. So you don't have to change anything as far as how you're managing your calendar. And as far as I know, I mean, Yahoo, email, Gmail, Outlook, they all can be connected to each other. And I've got something like 10 different I've got 5 or 6 email accounts. I'm a little crazy, I know. And I've got like 10 different calendars or something like that. I got my personal one, if I have a doctor appointment or if I'm, going out to dinner with neighbors, friends. My sister got married a couple weeks ago. So obviously I'm going to block time out like that. So that's personal. I've got kids calendar. I've got work calendar. I've got business calendar. I've got this. So I've got multiple ones. Excuse me. But you can use that for a public-facing one where if you want somebody to email you directly there. So website settings, this is where the important stuff is. Mainly, the time zone's obviously important, but these next 4 are the important ones. The max distance miles, that's the furthest you're willing to go for an appointment, right? If you only want to drive 20 miles, if you don't want to go more than 20 miles, put in 20 there. If somebody searches you from 25 miles away, you won't even show up, right? The base travel distance is how far you're willing to go for your base fee, right? In the service fee section up here, you're going to set up your base fees. It tells the system for a power of attorney, I charge $85. Maybe you charge 50, maybe you charge 105. Whatever your fee is, you put that in there. And here you're telling the system, I'm willing to drive 20 miles for that fee. Some of you might live in a state that you're limited on what you can charge. You can only charge the IRS mileage. Then your base travel distance would be 0 and 64 cents a mile or whatever it is. So it just depends on where you're at. You got to follow your local laws, obviously, but set your base travel distance on whatever you want. And the best thing you can do, and I've tweaked it numerous times. In fact, I just changed it this last week. I had it at 15 and 2. I decided I'm gonna play with this for a little bit, make it 20 and 250, and we'll see how it plays out. But go do this, right? Punch the numbers in, hit save at the bottom, and then come over here and do a search, right? Throw in an address that's locally, or figure out approximately how far it is away from you, how far of a drive it is, and then test it out. And I've done that a bunch. Test it, see how it is. Make sure the calendar's reading properly, right? Make sure that the drive times are correct. Make sure your travel fees are accurate. So it takes a little tweaking. It really does. That's one reason we give you a 30-day trial, so you can go in and tweak it and play with it and make sure not only you're familiar with it, but you get it set the way you want. And you may still tweak it, right? You will stay come back. Like I just changed it this week. So, and we'll see how it plays out for a week or two, and then maybe I'll change it back. I don't know. So this is the fee per extra mile, right? So however much you want the system to calculate per additional mile on top of your base, or like I said, if you're in a state that you can only charge a certain amount. So this is one that was recently added. You may notice if you were in here 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, it just had a zip code. And the system was built originally off of the center point of that zip code. We added this thanks to Jennifer Cooper, because she said, I do a lot of Zoom meetings. She does training for notaries. She does business consulting, all that stuff. So we added this for her Zoom meetings so that if it had a Zoom address in there, it would then automatically pull from her home address where she's working, right? Well, then I realized we could use this for Ron. We could use it for consultation if you're doing training, if you're a notary coach, if somebody just wants a consultation and you're just sitting in your home talking to them on the phone. It added a whole new level of versatility. And then when we had that in, I asked my developer, I said, well, if it's pulling off the center of the zip code, that's not necessarily as accurate. Now that we have this physical address in there, can we have the system calculate from there instead of the center of the zip code? Because if you're in a zip code and, maybe your zip code's 10 miles, some of you are in giant zip codes probably, right? It might be 10 miles out here. So the beautiful thing is he went and fixed it. So now it pulls from your actual physical address. So it's even more accurate than it was before. It was really close before for the most part, but now it's spot on. So you're going to put your physical address in there, wherever you start from, right? If you have an actual office you go from, put that in there, hit validate, and save it. So the rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. It's not necessary. None of these are required. There is a catalog in here that is on hold right now. The direction we were originally going has changed. So it's there. If we utilize that at some point in the future, then you'll know about it. We'll make you aware of the training that we've done on there. So, but that's pretty much it for the profile. Like I said, go in and play. You're not going to break the system. And if you do, let me know. There are, and when we have updates like this, sometimes some bugs pop up. I know I go and test it a bunch whenever we do an upgrade. And there was something came up, and I messaged my developer. I'm like, this isn't working like this. He goes and looks. Oh, some little bug, some little one-off thing. So he puts a patch in there, he fixes it, and everything's good from there on out. So let us know if something's not working just right. Let us know. We'll get it fixed as quick as we can, and we'll take it from there. So, all right. y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you very soon. God bless. Bye-bye.